What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode this week of Bravo by Gays. It's me, I'm your host, Larry. I hope that you guys have had a good week. It is Friday, and I'm just happy the week is over. I'm ready for the weekend, looking forward to it, and there's some stuff we got to talk about. I haven't talked to you guys about Real Housewives of Potomac, which is amazing this season. I'm loving the new additions to the cast. We're going to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They are on a couples trip, which is going crazy. And those are the two things that I want to touch on with you guys, with just like a couple of things at the end in regards to like some stuff that's like in the news. So let's just get into it, and let's start with Potomac. All right, guys, this season of Real Housewives of Potomac is so freaking good. Like, it is. I thought it was going to be like, I didn't know what to expect, because there were some cast changes. Obviously, Robyn isn't back this season, and you can see like how Gizelle is actually like acting with with her co-stars without Robyn. And I'm loving it. It's an unpopular opinion, but I was a Robyn Dixon fan. I really liked her on the show. And it is a little refreshing to see that the show is moving forward well without her. But I also kind of wish she was there for like certain moments of like what's going on this season, just to kind of get her reactions about like certain situations. So the ladies wasted no time. This season, they really are diving into everything that's going on with Karen and her DUI allegations and her court case and all of that stuff. There's stuff going on with Mia and Gordon and Ink. And we got to meet the new housewife, Stacey, and what's going on with her relationship and how she is in the process of getting divorced, but she's also in this new relationship. And there's things going on with Ashley and the girls, Gizelle and the girls, and Mia and some of the newbies. And it is just wild. And I could not ask for more. So this last episode, I really felt like we didn't even leave the breakfast table, and so much happened. It was so freaking good. So it was very similar to Lisa's Beso party, where they didn't leave that party the entire time. I love that we can get a full episode out of like one like little event like frickin' breakfast, right? So it's the ladies are on a trip. It's Wendy's 40th birthday, and this is the morning of her birthday. Wendy had made these ladies stay up until midnight. They went after that crazy dinner that they had, where Mia busts out this information about Karen butt dialing her, saying that the ladies thought that she was going to Ray, but she wasn't with him. They all ended up having to stay up until midnight to wish Wendy a happy birthday. Now, these ladies look so tired, like they were over the night, but you know what? They were troopers, and they did it. They stayed up, wished her a happy birthday, went to bed, woke up, whatever. Well, it must have been like overnight that Karen was handed some information. These ladies woke up. They were like ready to get right into it. Now, a few of the ladies do feel like Karen is getting some unfair treatment, and like she's constantly being attacked for everything that she's going through. And to them, it just does not seem fair. So they voiced that at the breakfast table. Well, the one that voiced it, I want to say it was Keiarna. Is that how you say her name? Let me double check, because I don't want to say it incorrectly, but it takes me some time to remember every housewife's name, especially when they're new. Yeah, Keiarna. So she especially voiced it, and Wendy came at her and was like, you want to talk about your drug dealer boyfriend? And I think that took everybody like by surprise. Like, I was even shocked when I heard her say that. I was like, oh shit, like she really is going there. And in my mind, it is so funny to see like Stacey's reactions, because it's almost like she doesn't know what to expect with these ladies when she goes to these events, because she is always like, oh wow, like this is what you guys do, like, oh my god, you went there, like, oh my god, like what is this what you ladies are all about? It is so funny because it's like almost like, girl, have you not watched Housewives? Like, it's been around for so long. Like, do you not know that this is how the ladies are? Just to see her reactions is so funny. And they get into it, and they're talking about the drug dealer boyfriend. And then she was like, well, let's talk about your past. And Mia, like, owned to being a stripper. And they were talking about like the streets. And Keiarna was like, well, that's the ultimate form of street. Like, you were a stripper. Like, they were just going back and forth at each other like crazy. And it was so freaking good. Then Jacqueline gets involved in the conversation, and I don't know if she was paying attention to exactly who started the altercation between the ladies, but it was definitely Mia. And Wendy made that known, like, girl, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, your friend that you're now trying to defend is the one that started all of this drama. And in walks, not even walks, Karen just interjects and brings up the fact that Jacqueline's baby daddy has like 25 charges against him. And that pissed Jacqueline off. And to me, it was almost like, if you can't, like, don't dish it if you can't take it, because like the ladies want to come for Karen, but like you better believe that like she's going to come for you tenfold, and like you better be ready for that when she does. So Jacqueline gets so upset, and she's like, oh my god, like, how are you going to talk about someone when they're not even here to defend themselves? And I get what she's saying with that, but also like, I feel like it's the nature of the beast. Like, you want to talk about somebody, any piece of information that Karen would have gotten about Jacqueline, she would have used against her, regardless if it was about Jacqueline specifically or just about someone like in her world. So I don't know. It was almost like, I mean, you can't be mad, right? Like, this is the job. Like, you guys are paid to kind of like obviously show these relationships, but also bring the drama. So I almost fell the fuck over when they brought up the 35 charges or whatever it was that he has allegedly. I don't know. I never looked into it, but it was so freaking good. And I kind of hope that at that point it would just kind of shut down them really kind of going after Karen. And a lot of people are comparing the way that Karen is handling her DUI situation to the way that Shannon is handling hers. And they are, I don't know. I think Shannon really kind of owned everything that happened. And Karen is definitely going along the lines of like, it's still an ongoing case. So I'm not going to say anything until like everything is finalized, and then I'll talk about it, because she's really not giving any info into what exactly happened, even though it's all over the news. So it also could be like, maybe it's different state by state. I don't know how that works, but it does seem that like Shannon is giving us way more about her backstory and her DUI than Karen is about ours. So again, I thought that this was going to be like the last like time that Jacqueline or Mia kind of bring up that situation, but it wasn't, because we see towards the end of the episode that they are talking to Stacey, talking to her about how they are concerned about Karen and her issue with alcohol, and they're showing her the police report and like listing the charges of everything that went against Karen, kind of telling Stacey like, be careful who you try and defend, because this is like who it is. Like, this is who she is, which at this point, it really is just, it feels like they're just really trying to take Karen down. And they ultimately tell her like, we think she needs rehab. if these ladies really thought that they were going to be able to get Karen to check into rehab on the show and use that as like some type of story, you're freaking crazy. Like, she's not going to do that, right? It just felt very dirty the way that they brought that like information to Stacey and like telling them what they wanted to do. And I literally can't wait to just, at this point, I'm kind of like, oh my God, like, when are they leaving? They just got, where are they? Charlotte? They just got to Charlotte. And I'm like, oh wow, they pulled out all of their cards in the first day and a half. Giselle is on her way back. I can't wait for Giselle to get there and like kind of get in the mix of everything that's going on to hear what she has to say about it. She had left Charlotte to go to the twins' cap and gown ceremony, which was beautiful. I love to see that. I can't believe her kids are like already out of high school, and like, it's just crazy. Like, because we've seen them since they were young. They like, the show's been on for 9 years, so we've seen them since they were little girls. Those are moments like that as well that I love getting to see on the shows, like the family moments. I love like the behind the scenes, like when cameras aren't there, but they send you like their home video to still kind of give us a glimpse into what they're doing when the cameras aren't around. But I'm excited for her to get back. I will say this, and I want to know what your guys' thoughts on this are. I want to know your thoughts on Giselle and Wendy becoming like new besties, right? So we obviously saw them earlier in the season go to lunch. They talk things over and kind of decide to just like move forward in a positive direction. And Giselle obviously leaves the Charlotte trip. She calls Wendy to wish her a happy 40th birthday, sang her a little song, did a little dance on the phone. I love it. I love Giselle. And then we see like Wendy kind of like reciprocating that. Like, oh my God, when the phone rings, she's like, oh, it's my new bestie, Giselle. I want to know what your thoughts are on their newfound friendship. Do you think that it will last? Or do you think something's going to happen that's going to kind of mess everything up? I'm hoping that it lasts because I feel like they have kind of been at each other for the last couple of seasons, that like, let's hope that they can become friends and just see what kind of like duo they are together and like how they move forward. I'm loving this season so much. I can't get enough of it. I do also, this is from a couple episodes ago. I kind of wanted to grasp your opinions on this specific situation that happened at the GNA event when not even half, when like a majority of the ladies went to Karen's event where she was getting this award, and then they showed up to Ashley and Giselle's event at 8:03 p.m. and Giselle had kicked them out. And the altercation that happened like after they had left, with like the door shutting on Ashley, like, and her saying like, oh, I'm sore the next day, like because the door kind of like closed on her a little bit. But I want to know, like, if you think Giselle and Ashley were in the right to ask the girls to leave, or do you think that they should have opened their arms and then invited them to stay because they attempted to come and show their support and support both events that were going on? Regardless, I blame Karen for the ladies having to make the decision of going to both events, because she invited the ladies to her event after already knowing that like they all had RSVP to go to the GNA event. I just want to see where you guys lie with this, on if you think Giselle and Ashley were in the wrong, or if you think they were in the right by asking the ladies to leave after they got there. Drop it in the comments. I just want to hear what you guys have to say about it. But Potomac, ladies, you guys literally do it for me. Every week, I'm just like, oh God, I cannot wait to watch. It's so freaking good. And I'm so excited to see what happens next week. And you better believe we're going to talk about it, because it's just like every episode something happens. So it's only going to get better from here, guys. All right, we need to go over to the land of Salt Lake City, because when I tell you, just like I said, I can't get enough of Potomac. I cannot get enough of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I do want to say that I think Bronwyn is an amazing addition to the cast of Salt Lake City. I'm loving her this season and how she's really not like taking shit from anyone, and she's not afraid to stand up to the other women for like things that they say about her or things they say about how she's acting in regards to certain situations. So this entire episode kind of like was the lead up to their trip to Palm Springs. Now, it looks like Bronwyn and Todd really like spared no expense, and they went all out for these ladies. The ranch that they're staying at is absolutely stunning. They took a private plane there, all of this stuff. So they really started out the episode with Heather meeting Meredith and Lisa at the spa and kind of talking to her about the situation that just happened as she had just left Bronwyn's house and kind of almost went directly to meet Meredith and Lisa to tell them what happened during the meeting. Now, she's essentially saying that like Bronwyn invited Heather to her house to apologize to her, to then have her feel okay with inviting her on the trip. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that's exactly what happened. I think Bronwyn invited Heather over to the house so they can discuss their problems. And as long as Bronwyn felt okay about where they were at the end of that meeting, that she would then feel comfortable enough to extend her an invite to go on the friend trip to Palm Springs. I don't think that's what Heather thought it was at all. I think Heather thought that she was there to get an apology from Bronwyn when she thinks Bronwyn wanted Heather to apologize to her. The whole thing just seemed very confusing from what Heather was saying as to what she thought it was. And I was watching it like, Heather, like, that's not what I watched, at least. I have no idea. Like, I'm curious to know what you guys think in regards to how you watched it, but that's not how I perceived it. I perceived it the way I just told you guys, that she just kind of wanted to see how things ended up and then give her an invite if she felt comfortable. Well, when Heather is telling these ladies at the spa about what happened, she then proceeds to like pick the ladies' brains to see where they stand with Bronwyn and their friendships, because Heather again brings up something that like someone says, and like I feel like she's almost like the master of the telephone game, where like she's always kind of just like in everyone's ear about what everyone else is saying. And I don't know how I really feel about that. I like it because it's dramatic, but it's also like, girl, that can't be like your thing. I don't know. I'm so conflicted on Heather, guys. I really am. I really loved her in the beginning when the series first came out. And then I don't know what it was where she just fell off for me. And then I really loved her last season. I thought she had some great moments. And then this season, again, I feel like I'm losing it again with her. But I'm hoping as the season goes on, I can pick it back up with her, because I do like enjoy her. I just don't really like the way that she kind of like moves around amongst the group of friends. Well, okay, I'm tangenting and I apologize, but she's talking to the ladies about where they think they stand in their relationships with Bronwyn, and brings up the fact that like Bronwyn had like FaceTimed Lisa and asking if everything was okay with Whitney and Justin so they can go on the trip. And the way that Heather kind of brought it kind of seemed like she was talking negatively about it. And then Lisa was talking about how on that FaceTime, she felt that like she was almost accusing Lisa and John of starting the drama with Whitney and Justin. And Lisa wasn't okay with that. I love when they do the edit and they like throw in like the flashback, because you do see Bronwyn on the FaceTime talking to Lisa. And the way that I understood it, it sounded like she was just asking if they were good. Like, hey, like, are you guys good? Because like they're coming on the trip too. So I just want to make sure like everything is cool. I didn't like seem like she was placing blame on anybody whatsoever. So I don't know if it's just me or are other people seeing it the way that Lisa saw it, or I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Like, I sometimes like I watch and they watch them talk and I'm like, wait, like, am I watching this wrong? Or are they just crazy and like exaggerating how everything is happening? I don't know. Because I thought Bronwyn handled everything perfect. I thought the situation with Heather, she handled great. Or her intent was great, even though it ended up with Heather leaving. And then the flashback, I thought it was like kind of just like a nice gesture to be like, hey, like, I just want to make sure things are good because they're coming on the trip too. There was it didn't feel like accusatory at all. I don't know. I'm here for it though. I'm loving all of it. I'm loving the drama. And it's just crazy. It really is. Regardless, Heather isn't invited on the trip to Palm Springs, and Mary doesn't go on the trip either. She decides to stay home and spend the weekend with her son, which is hilarious because her son spends all of his time in his bedroom. So who knows if they even actually really did anything together. Maybe she just didn't want to go after her last Palm Springs trip. Who's to say? Mary's not there. Mary's not there. Heather's not there. Brittany is not there either. And I'm not really surprised because Brittany and Bronwyn don't really seem to get along. And Melly, is that the other Friends of name? Like, put her face on a milk carton because we haven't even really seen her this season. And she has a cast photo and a little bit of a bio, I believe, if I'm looking correctly. Let me pull this up. Yeah, Melly. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's her face on the website. And she has like a little bio. So I'm wondering where she is. Like, where in the world is Melly? And I hope I'm saying her name right as well. If not, I really do apologize. But so we have 4 ladies missing from the trip. Let me tell you, I would have missed this trip. Like I said earlier, the ranch is amazing. They were flying private. They are about to have, hopefully, all of the fun. It's a couples trip. We have Meredith. We have Seth is back from Columbus. He's going on the trip. We have Justin and Whitney, Lisa and John, Todd and Bronwyn, obviously the host. And then we have Angie and Sean. And they wasted really no time kind of like getting into it. I did love, as soon as they got to the house, Seth like went running looking for a room with a bathtub for Meredith. And he was like, whenever we go somewhere, he's like, my head is on a swivel looking for a room with a tub for Meredith. Obviously, guys, we know tubs are Meredith's thing. We've heard it from here to the moon, and that's okay. I love it. I love that she embraces it. And then, obviously, we have Bronwyn talking to Angie and Whitney about how a little uncomfortable it is with Lisa, and just because of like the whole Heather situation. And it doesn't like get any better because they're all sitting by the pool, and Bronwyn goes to the bathroom, and while she's gone, the ladies decide to call Heather. They miss Heather. They wish Heather was there. They decide to FaceTime Heather, which couldn't have been like the most inappropriate time to do this. You could have waited until maybe you were in the room with like a friend, like maybe Lisa and Meredith could have like been getting ready for like the next thing and just like FaceTimed Heather from the room and been like, hey girl, we miss you. No, you did it while she was in the bathroom. What's a bathroom break? Like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes? Like she's going to be back quick. So it was almost like, do you think that it was almost like, oh, let's get her on the phone? Like, so she sees we're talking to Heather while she comes back out. I don't know. I could just also be reaching with that one. But Bronwyn does come back from the bathroom as they're on the phone with Heather. And it was very uncomfortable. And she even said that. And she was like, why would you call her now? Like, also, and I get that. Also, why would you call her? You could have sent her a text and just been like, hey girl, we wish you were here. But you called her. I also get it too, because you're making a TV show, so you want to get Heather on screen, like on the phone, to like hear what she has to say. So don't get that part is not lost on me, guys. I completely know. I feel like moments where they're doing things specifically like for the show, like you want to get Heather's reaction for what is going on. Now, I did love also that after they hung up, they're kind of just going at it like, what the hell? They're talking about the situation between Bronwyn and Heather. And then they are kind of discussing the situation between Lisa and Bronwyn and their friendship, and how Lisa expects the ladies to kind of check on her when something goes wrong, or like stand up for her if someone is saying something. But Bronwyn feels like she doesn't do that when it comes to something going on with her, especially with Heather, because Heather and Lisa are riding so hard for each other. I did love that Bronwyn said she also wished that Heather was on the trip, even though they do not have a relationship. But again, it goes back to the situation where Bronwyn invited Heather to the house and it just didn't go the way that she thought it was going to. So she didn't get an invitation. I did also like that Bronwyn really stood up in this moment and was like, I don't care if you prefer Heather over me, but I think it's kind of weird for you to come on this trip if you do prefer Heather over me. Like, right? Like, if you like Heather so much more than Bronwyn, then like, why not stay back and do something with Heather? You guys can film scenes back in Salt Lake. Obviously, you want to go on the trip. They all want to be there, right? So I feel like all of these things that are going on are like little things that really don't involve the people that are getting mad at each other, but they're things between one person and another. And just, it's really like a third or fourth person are getting involved, and it has nothing to do with them. But this did get so heated where the boys were in the pool and they were like, oh, it's getting loud. Like, we should really go over there. And then at one point, Todd swam up and was like, should we call Heather? And they were like, no, that's why we're fighting. We already did call her. So Bronwyn gets up, she leaves, and she is in there talking to Whitney, and then Todd comes in. And listen, Todd he gives 0 fucks. How many fucks does he give? 0. And he tells her, like, I was not going to put up with this. I'm not going to put up with this drama. I told you that already. We're 3 hours in and we already have a whole weekend's worth. You need to have Lisa, like, shut it down or they're going to have to leave. Now, she didn't even have a chance to talk to Lisa, because as soon as he said that, he went right outside and told John, like, you guys are going to have to go if they can't, like, make it work. And that's where the episode ended, and it was crazy, you guys. I literally could not even believe that. It ended with John going up to Heather and saying, like, what's going on with you and Bronwyn? Because, like, if you guys don't figure it out, John has said that we're going to have to go. I just have a feeling one of two things are going to happen. Either Lisa's going to be like, fuck it, pack the bags, let's leave. Or she's going to run out and be like, why are you telling us that we have to go because we're having a disagreement about something? Or, so one of three things. Or she's going to run and apologize to Bronwyn so that they can stay on the trip. I don't know what's going to happen. I want Lisa to stay because I want her and Bronwyn to work it out. I also want to see how, like, everybody is going to interact, where if Lisa and John leave, 1, do they go home? Or 2, do they get a hotel nearby and then they just show up for lunches and dinners? That's stupid. If that's the case, like, let them stay in the house. You're really just trying to avoid drama between the ladies, like, during the in-between. Like, just, I don't know. You better believe I'm going to be, like, tuned in for it, because I cannot wait for next week's episode, because I feel like some shit's going to go down. Would you also die if Heather just showed up in Salt Lake City and she's like Jill Zarin-esque, like, hot surprise, hi. Like, that would be hilarious. I also think Bronwyn would have a full-on meltdown, but then I also feel like she is the kind of person that might be like, okay, well, you're here, so you might as well stay. I don't know what to expect. I really don't. So I will say this. I will let you guys know as soon as, like, the previews for next week's episode are out. They'll be on my Instagram, so just make sure that you're keeping up to date over there so you can see the previews for it. I mean, they're delivering, guys. I can't get enough of everything that's on Bravo right now. Now, you're listening to this on Friday. The Real Housewives of Orange County Reunion Part 1 will have already aired. I'm going to talk to you guys about that next week, which I cannot wait for it. The ladies of OC have delivered this entire season, so I'm really excited to see what the reunion is going to look like. Now, we obviously have so much coming up in the next couple of like weeks. We have Beverly Hills that's premiering, and we have Southern Charm that's premiering. Guys, Bravo's Miami Fan Fest is coming in a couple of weeks as well down in Miami. If you guys are going, let me know. I want to like see all the footage you guys are taking. I want to hear all about it. I unfortunately am not going to be able to be down there, but that is okay. I am more so looking. Would I love to be there? Of course. But I'm hoping that the FOMO doesn't kick in too hard and I can hold on to the excitement a little bit longer for BravoCon 2025 in Vegas. In regards to just a couple hot topics, this is from last week. I didn't really get to touch on it with you guys, but Teddi Mellencamp and her husband Edwin have filed for divorce. No separation. Teddi just filed. So she hasn't really said anything in regards to that other than her statement that she posted on her Instagram, which stated, after a great deal of care and consideration, I have made the difficult decision to file for divorce. My priority is my children and ensuring that every care is taken with their privacy and well-being throughout this new chapter. Making a public statement is not something I wanted to do, but in an effort to protect my family from undue speculation and rumors, I felt being open, honest, and vulnerable was the best path forward. Now, I listened to 2T's. She didn't really dive into too much more in regards to like why the divorce is happening. There are some rumblings. I'm not going to talk about those because I don't know. And she's not on the show. Like, she's on 2T's and like she's still in the Bravo environment. If there was something more that came out that I kind of like, that had some like proof or standing behind it, sure, I might speculate, but I'm not going to. But I mean, that's a bummer. A divorce is always sad. You never want to see like anyone's family break up, especially because they have the young kids. So I feel bad for them. I want to know what's going to happen now, but like with the podcast with the husbands, like the two Eds or whatever it's called. It would be funny if they had another one and it was like Ed, and Eddie. So who knows what's going to happen with that? But they are fine. They're getting divorced, guys. They are getting divorced. In other news, I didn't talk about it last week either. It did come out a week ago, though. But Jill Zarin did announce that her daughter, Allie Shapiro, and her fiance have called off their engagement. No real details there either as to like what is going on as to why it happened. So I'm not going to speculate because I haven't even heard any rumors, but that is just something that just came out. There is really kind of like not much. It's been kind of quiet this week, so not too much more information going on. So I do just want to remind you guys that I am hosting Sonia in Your City in Somerville, Massachusetts, which is just right outside of Boston. So Boston Bravoholics, make sure that you go and get your tickets for that. It's going to be so much fun. It is Saturday, February 22nd. So Saturday, February 22nd, Somerville Theater in Somerville, Massachusetts. Come hang out with myself and Sonia Morgan. It's going to be so much fun. But that's all I got for you guys. So I will talk to you next week. I hope you have a great weekend. A better weekend than a week we just got through. And I hope that I was able to entertain you guys. I love you guys. And I will talk to you guys next week. But until then, bye. Go Bills.